Hello and welcome to the Red Bra Project. I am Renee and I'm so excited to be back here with you today. I don't have my amazing co-host by my side today, Shauna, and actually I had a guest co-host scheduled, the beautiful Candace Pardo, who is up in Canada. She's currently flying right now. And the reason why I invited her onto the show to co-host with me was because we have an incredible guest for you today. We cannot wait to introduce. So Candace, I know you're up there. Thank you so much for trying to join us, but I know you'll catch this show. So this is a little shout out for you. And now back to our featured guest. We absolutely love your story. I think what you're doing is incredible. We've had other pilots, female pilots on the show with us and aircraft mechanics as well. And it's so cool and empowering to hear. So welcome to the show. We have Natalie, flyGIRL, Kelley. So welcome. I threw myself off of flyGIRL. I'm like, wait. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here. Really, really excited to chat with you.
Yeah, we are so excited. Gosh, and there's so much about your story to get into and just what you're doing and how you're really empowering young women to take the leap and kind of get uncomfortable and do the stuff that you may want to do, but you're afraid to do. But Natalie, why don't you start off by telling us a little bit about where you're coming from today and kind of what your backstory is?
Wow. Well, okay. So I am, well, physically, I'm in Cincinnati, Ohio. I'm not from Ohio. I am from Tennessee. So if you notice the Southern accent, it's hard for me to hide. But yes, I am a transplant here to Cincinnati and really like Cincinnati. It's a great city, but I'm here mostly because, well, I did my training here at Sporty's. Now, Sporty's is a really well-known company. Sporty's Pilot Shop sells aviation gear for a lot of private pilots in general aviation, and they're well-known like worldwide. It just happens to be here in Cincinnati. So when I decided to start flying about 4 years ago, that was the first spot that I thought would be a great place for me to go and do my training. And it did turn out to be very well. It was pretty convenient to where I lived, and I loved the family and community there and felt welcome immediately and just loved every minute at Sporty's Academy.
Very cool. And so is that how Cincinnati became kind of your new area?
Yeah. Well, I moved here actually. So we were moved here with a job transplant, and I have 3 boys, and they are leaving the nest really right now. And as they were getting older, I decided to start learning to fly here, and I've just stuck around here. I still have family in Tennessee. Maybe one day I'll get back to Tennessee. I don't really know, but for now, Cincinnati is home, and I love it here.
Awesome. So funny, but I'm originally from Ohio, northeastern Ohio, up in Cleveland, and I'm in Tennessee today.
Oh my gosh, that is funny.
And hence no accent. So
yeah. What part of Tennessee are you in?
We're in Chattanooga, so we're actually kind of right on the Tennessee-Georgia line right now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I flew down to Chattanooga just a couple of weeks ago. I was in Nashville with we organized a girls trip with a bunch of female pilots and women that are in aviation, and we actually flew for lunch to Chattanooga and had lunch in Chattanooga.
My goodness, that's so cool. Was the weather good that day?
It was beautiful. Yeah, it was really nice. It was warm, and now the fall weather's moved in, but it was nice. I was wearing shorts, and it was really fun.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing what a couple hundred miles can do.
I know.
Going north to south and even east to west. So
I know, yeah.
So you mentioned you became a pilot later in life.
Yeah, right.
No, this is kind of the part that we're so excited to get into. So share with us, how was that? So I know, well, I cheated a little. I read that you have always wanted to be a pilot. So
not a pirate, but
Halloween's over, Renee. You've always wanted to be a pilot, and so how did you decide to do that later on? And
yeah, well, this is so a lot of people don't know the whole story, but I did come from an aviation sort of background. My dad was a pilot in the Navy and continued on an aviation career. My real love of flying and introduction to flying came from my uncle, who lived in the small town where I grew up. just outside of Nashville in Charlotte, Tennessee. And he was a general aviation pilot, which means he flew, and a lot of people don't know what that means, but he wasn't a professional like pilot that flew as a career. It was a hobby for him. And he flew just like single engine airplanes, typically some type of older, like a Warbird airplane. He owned probably 12 different planes throughout my life that I kind of remember that he had.
Wow.
So he would take me flying when I was young, and my parents were separated for a long time. My dad was in the Navy, living in a different city, and my mom was living where she grew up. So he was kind of a father figure in many ways. He was around quite a bit, and he loved to fly, and his sons didn't really care for it, but he would take me flying. And I just knew, I don't know, one of the first times that I went up with him that I wanted to do this one day. So I'd always told him that I wanted to, and he always encouraged me to keep doing it. And I probably started flying when I was maybe 8 or 9, something like that, with him. And then life just kept going, and I went to college and didn't even think about aviation being some type of career for me, but it was still something that I wanted to do. I liked the idea of how my uncle did it. You know, it was kind of a hobby, a fun thing for him. And then got married, had kids. Life just kept going, going, going. And we hit a pretty rough spot in our family life with one of our children. And I was a stay-at-home mom, had been for nearly, at that point, probably 16 years. Loved being a stay-at-home mom, loved my kids, loved being able to do that. Felt really blessed and happy that I was able to spend that time with them as they were growing up. But there was something missing, and we were having struggles with one of our kids. And one day, I was super frustrated. It was a really stressful time in our family's life. And I went looking for this bucket list that I created. And it was actually dated 1999. And on the list, like, I dug through all these scrapbooks and I found it. And there were probably about 25 things on there. And I sat on the floor. I was actually in my pajamas, sitting on the floor, looking through this scrapbook, and found this that was typed at that time, bucket list, and started to kind of look at the things that we had accomplished, and, you know, checked off some things. And it felt really good to see what had been done. But there was this one thing that stood out to me, and it was earn my private pilot's license. And all of a sudden it just like clicked, that this was the right time. My kids were older and didn't need me home so much anymore. They were all in school at that point. That financially we were able to, for me to afford to start flight training lessons, because it's pretty expensive. And it just seemed like emotionally, like I really needed it. I really needed something for myself, that the timing of it was just perfect. And it was like I called that day and scheduled my first flight lesson. And I think it was probably maybe a week later that I walked into the school and started. And once I started, I was hooked.
That is such a cool story. You called the same day. What
Yeah.
year was that you went through the bucket list, or you went searching for it?
So that would have been in 2016.
Okay.
I started flying. Yeah.
That is so neat. And oh, you just happen to go back, look at your bucket list, and
Yeah.
literally you're like, this is the day.
Yeah. It spoke to me. I was pretty desperate at that time. We had struggled with one of our sons, and it was just super, it's hard to explain, super stressful, super, like, I was so consumed by it. And so I couldn't control it. I had no control over the situation. I needed something that I could control, something that I could be, when you're a stay-at-home mom, you feel 100% responsible for all your kids' decisions. And you measure how successful you are on how your kids are doing. And if one of them starts to struggle, you start to feel like a failure, that you messed up, that you didn't do something right. And I was definitely feeling that way. And it was just like, I just had to get away from that. I had to step away from being so wrapped up in that stress and focus on something I loved, remove myself a little bit from that, or it was just gonna like, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't, I was just couldn't eat. And it was like, I had to do something else for me and focus on something else. And that was just, it was perfect timing. Any other day, I don't know if I would have taken the initiative to do it.
Yeah, isn't that funny how you look back and you kind of connect the dots and you think about what led up to that point? And it's true, had it been on any other day, you may not have not
Right.
you may not have picked up the phone. So,
Right.
and then here you are. And from getting your pilot's license, which is incredible, first of all, just to decide, and yes, it was something you always wanted to do, but like you said, life happens, and before you know it, fast forward several years later, and it's something that was a dream. That's always a dream.
Right.
But you took that step and made it happen, and then now you have this incredible flyGIRL company, and you're helping so many others to step into their dreams and passion and stuff, and it's just
Yeah.
awesome, Natalie.
Thank you. I mean, it really has, it's changed my life totally. When you picture like I said, I was still a stay-at-home mom. I volunteered at the school. I did all the things that you think of stay-at-home moms doing, and was very wrapped up in that. I can't say that I was fulfilled 100% by that.
Mm-hmm.
I knew there was something else I needed to do.
Yep.
I just didn't know what that was.
Yeah.
And if I hadn't started flying, it would have, I would have never been led down this path of flyGIRL and starting that and where it is today. It's just like crazy. It's one of the things I would have never imagined, but absolutely love it and wouldn't have it any other way.
Oh, I love it. Such a good story. And I have listened, you have your own podcast as well, and I tuned into a few of your episodes, and it's interesting because some of the stories that the other female pilots share with you sometimes, it took one flight and they knew. And
Yeah.
the other two female pilots we've had on the show said the same thing. It started with their discovery flight, and instantly before they touched back down, they absolutely knew this was the right path for them.
Yeah. It's crazy. And I don't know if it's like that with other things. I'm not really sure, other career paths or hobbies. I don't really know how someone finds that thing, what that feels like in that moment. But I knew I was ready to give up a lot of stuff. I was a huge tennis player. Like I was all into the social tennis stuff, and I was ready to cut like all the stuff from, like, I call it my like previous life. I was ready to like completely weed all the things out that didn't satisfy me 100% so that I could get this done.
Yeah. Wow. That is awesome. The passion and that big strength, or I just force that I hear once I hear that from a lot of the pilots that decided that's the route they wanted to go. There was no in between. I mean, that's a pretty big commitment to stay on the ground or fly up in the air. So.
Yeah, it is. And it was scary. I can't lie. I don't know. I think one of the things I feel really strongly about is reaching out and trying to reach women that are not like just starting out, like college age kids, which I want to encourage them as well. But women that may feel stuck or may feel like this is just who I am. I'm a mom. That's it. This is my path in life. This is what I'm going to do. And there's so many other things that I want women to, there's a lot of things I'm interested in. And I don't want women to limit themselves and think that other things aren't possible, even if it's a dream you had when you were 8 years old. There's a chance and something, be open to trying these things. Give it a try. If it's something on your list and something that you've always had in your mind that you wanted to try, go for it. If you don't like it, you don't have to keep doing it, but don't live with the regret and you don't really know where it's going to lead. So I don't want people to feel like there's just like, this is it. You can have many different parts of you that you haven't explored yet, even when so I was 44. Yeah, I think 43 or 44 when I actually started. And a lot of people would think, wow, that's like too old, or it's, and it was scary walking back into class. I hadn't been to class since college. I didn't know how I was going to do. And I thought people were going to look at me like she's old and what is she doing here? And it was very intimidating. I just had to tell myself, and I'm pretty, at the time, I was definitely insecure. And flying has changed that for me totally. Um, and I was scared. Yeah. And I just had to tell myself, you got to do this. You got to push through it. You got to push through your fear. These people don't have any effect on your life, really. And everyone's afraid of something. You got to do this for you. Just keep pushing through.
So was that kind of your internal mantra whenever you would feel the
Yeah.
fear rise, is you just have to keep pushing through?
Keep pushing through.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it happened a lot. There was a lot of times when I'd go up for flights and I thought, I can't do this, or I'm not smart enough, or, just like, I can't be a pilot. What am I going to do? What am I doing up here?
Yeah.
But I just had to keep telling myself, you can do it. You can do it. What else are you going to do? What else are you going to do? I had no real excuse not to keep doing it.
Yeah.
So, it wasn't like, and it's not, once you choose one path, it's not like you can't quit if you don't want to, but I didn't want to. So even if I'm scared, it's like, you're scared, but you want this. So you got to keep pushing through and ignore the naysayers. And there are a lot of naysayers. And sometimes they're people that you didn't expect them to be, like your family. Some of your friends may not get it. They may think that you've gone off the deep end, or they just don't recognize this person anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting to see kind of all how they respond to it as well.
And that's tough too, to be on the side of where they maybe don't know what to do with the person that's changing or doing something new or growing in a different way. So when you felt that, how did you kind of work through that? Did you talk to them, or did you just kind of let relationships come and go?
Maybe initially I talked to him a little bit, but I wasn't gonna feel like I had to defend myself and justify myself. I'm not gonna tell them how to live their life. They don't need to tell me how to live mine. They don't know who I am. The only person that really knows who I am is me.
Mm.
And, I do think that there are seasons of life, and you have friends come and go for a variety of reasons. Sometimes they're here for a particular time in your life for a specific reason.
I 100% agree with you. Yeah. And it doesn't mean that you forget those friendships. They were amazing and so important and meaningful, and still are, but at that time. And then, it's seasons. They change, and some fade in and out.
Right. Right. And I don't want to be, like some of the people that just didn't get it, or that were a little more critical. I don't have hard feelings. I'd never be rude or anything. It was just like, well, that kind of is done, and couldn't evolve with where I am now. I have other friends now, and I can still be in touch with them. They're not going to be my sole support though.
Yep. Yeah.
And that's okay. You have to be okay with that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's a great point. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So first of all, just for some of our listeners who may be considering, maybe do want to look into becoming a pilot, what does school look like, just in terms of time and commitment?
That's kind of hard to say, because for me, once I started, just my personality is kind of, once I'm into something, I'm really into it, and I want to give like 100% and do the best that I can possibly do. So I would fly like 3 days a week if possible, a couple of flight blocks each time. And every school is different. Flight schools are different. I think I was a little spoiled at Sporty's because they are very regimented and consistent, and you know what your schedule is going to be. It's a great place to train, and they keep you honest, I guess, I don't know. They keep you on top of what you need to be doing, and make you hold you accountable. That's what I'm looking for. But it kind of depends on your finances, what you can do, and where you want to go, and how quickly you want to get there. If you're working full time, then it is possible to take flight lessons part time. You're not going to be able to do it as much as I was able to do it. I wasn't working. My kids were in school, so I had a lot of flexibility, and I wanted to do it when they were in school. So in the day, during the daytime was when I did my lessons, but I know you could do evening flights and you can do weekend stuff. And it's going to be, there's several different ratings. You start out with your private pilot's certificate, and that some people like that's all you need. And you can fly around your local area. You can even do cross-country flying if you have a private pilot certificate. Some people want other ratings, like an instrument rating, which allows for flying in instrument conditions, we call them, when you can't really use visual references outside. And then commercial rating, you know, multi-engine. I mean, you could just keep going and going, but getting your private pilot certificate is a lot. If you can do that, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, all of it. I mean, it's listening on the outside. I feel intimidated thinking about becoming a pilot myself, but you know, I love flying and traveling as well. So
Yeah,
you know, it's
yeah.
always
It's definitely overwhelming, and you just have to take and just enjoy each lesson and take bite-sized pieces, you know, and don't necessarily think about the end. Just kind of enjoy the whole process and the journey. And each time you're done with a lesson, I mean, I just remember feeling like, I did pretty good. You know, that was a pretty good lesson. You go, like, I'd go into it thinking, oh, I don't know if I can do this today. I just don't know if I have the mental capacity to learn something new. And then you leave 2 hours later and you're like, I did that. I'm ready to do something else.
that is so cool. That's great advice too, to enjoy the journey and kind of every step along the way and things. And it's really good information to know that even if you can't commit full time, you can still plug in the time that you have.
Yeah.
You know, granted, if it takes longer, it takes longer, but at least you're still taking a step forward. Every little step counts.
Right. Yeah. And I don't know, you know, because of my age, I feel like it's easier at this point in my life to say, enjoy the journey. I know when I was younger, I probably would have been so focused on, oh, I just want to hurry up and get done. I just want to get done. I want to get that certificate. And I think, you know, as you get older, you just kind of, well, for me, I just kind of mellowed out a little bit. And, you know, plus I had a lot of personal issues. So it wasn't like life threatening or life, you know, it was like, this is supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to lose sight of that. Just want to enjoy each lesson. And when I get there, you know?
Yeah. I love that perspective. So what inspired you? When did you kind of come up with the idea of flyGIRL, and what made you want to create such an incredible platform?
Yeah, well, I mean, it really, you know, flying really did change my life. It changed when I talk about I was insecure before that, just the confidence and the, I think just when I was learning to fly, it just made me think, well, if I can do this, I can do other things. You know, I surprised myself sometimes at what I could do. And it seemed like anything was possible. It was like, well, you know, and I think because aviation is such a small amount of people, it makes you feel even more special because you're like, I'm in this exclusive club. I've made it. So if I can do this, then I can do anything that I'm interested in. And I wanted other women to feel like I was just like a stay-at-home mom. You know, I have a 4-year bachelor's degree from a state college, and I'm not special in any way. So I can do it. I was 43, 44 when I started. Age is not, you know, a deterrent. Your financial status, because you can kind of control how many lessons you take. It shouldn't be a deterrent if it's something you want. It just opened up my eyes, and I wanted other women to know that this is, you have the opportunity to create whatever you want, create the life you want. You have the ability, figure it out, go to do things that you like to do. So I was like, okay, flying is kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Maybe a metaphor. I'm not sure. It doesn't necessarily have to be becoming a pilot, but anything that is something you've always dreamed of doing. Yeah. That, you know, I kind of thought I'm going to use flying in that way. So I can kind of, you know, I created the scholarships because I wanted to help women financially, be able to justify taking lessons, because it's expensive. If you have a family, it's hard for women to justify, I want to take this money for me and do this.
For sure.
Right. So I was like, okay, so if I can kind of remove that obstacle somewhat, for even for just one person, then that is just, it's a little encouragement for that person. And then with the whole flyGIRL logo, I wanted people to know that I could quote unquote fly. And when they see my shirt or when they saw a logo, I wanted them to be like, what does that mean? And ask me, and I could talk about it. And so it was like an advertisement for the possibility of what you can do, I guess.
Cool. And that's where your vision and kind of your vision for the whole community started with that.
Right. And I do, of course, I love aviation, and I'd love for more women to fly, but it's not just about becoming a pilot.
Yeah. I mean, clearly listening to you speak, you kind of rediscovered yourself. You were looking for something. You gained your confidence. You proved to yourself, my goodness, if I can do this, look how all these other things I can do. I mean, yeah, I think you are a shining example of it's more than just getting your license and being able to do the mechanics of flying.
Well, thank you. I just hope that people realize it was scary. It was scary almost every day. And then starting flyGIRL, starting flying, I never felt like I had it all together, that I had all the answers. I was 100% knew where my path was going to go, and that's okay. So I just want women to realize that you may not know where it's going to lead. Maybe you want to start singing. Maybe you want to do, start your own baking company or something. If you're interested in it, just start out a little bit and try it, and don't be afraid to do it. We only have one life here.
True. This is true. Yes. And if it's a year to try anything, this is the year.
Yes, right. Exactly.
So with your scholarships, how does that work? Do you award them once a year, or what does that look like?
Well, it's kind of been, it's not, it's kind of as money permits. It is at least once a year. I got a hair poking me in the eye. Through with Sporties, I've collaborated with them on a few scholarships. They're really helpful and have been really supportive of the whole flyGIRL brand and mission. And there are times when I'm like, hey, I kind of want to do a seaplane rating. Would you be interested in going in on that? And they'll think about it and come back and be like, yeah, I think that's great. We'll do that. It kind of depends on the funds. There is at least one available every year, and that's you can find that at in the Women in Aviation International website, which is www.wai.org. They administer it, and Sporties and I go in together for the funding of that scholarship. You apply online there, and then the other scholarships are kind of just random pop up. I'll post them on social media. So here's my little plug for social media.
Yeah.
Make sure you're following me at flyGIRL Kelley. Instagram is probably my favorite, biggest, and then flyGIRL Kelley has a Facebook page. I'm on Twitter, but I'll post things on there when I have monies, or someone will approach me and be like, hey, we would love for you to offer a scholarship through like Women in Corporate Aviation. I did one through them. Then I'll assess what kind of money I have, and I'll ask Sporties if they want to collaborate and go in together. And sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. And then I'll usually have details on how you apply kind of posted on social media.
Okay, got it. So connect with Natalie at flyGIRL and watch for the pop-up scholarships. This is what
That's right.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Though. I mean, I enjoy the element of surprise. So I mean, that's always nice. You can do it at least once a year, but maybe more. So.
At least once a year, yeah. Sometimes more. Yeah. Last year, I think I gave away Women in Corporate. I did a seaplane. I did the regular 3. I guess I did at least 3. I'm thinking there's one more, but maybe it was just 3 last year. Yeah.
That's incredible. So that's helping 3 women out financially who want to become pilots, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Aw.
And I mean, the funding for that really is the very first one I self-funded. And
Yeah.
after that, I used, when I decided, I wanted this flyGIRL brand and came up with the logo, then I approached Sporties about selling the products. And now I have the products there, and then I have them on my website as well at flyGIRLLLC.com. And those proceeds go towards funding the scholarships. So
Oh, that's cool.
that's where that comes from. And occasionally I'll do, I mean, we've had a couple of, like last year I did this thing called Fund to Fly Girl, was an online fundraiser that I raised money. And then at Oshkosh last year, we did an Oshkosh poster project, and we had a lot of pilots and aviation YouTubers and influencers sign this poster, and we auctioned them off and used the funds from that to fund the scholarships as well. So there are different ways, but mainly consistently it's through the flyGIRL products.
Very neat. And I have to say, your flyGIRL products are so cute. The
Thank
hat.
you.
Oh my gosh, yeah, they are adorable. I love the style, the colors, everything. So
Thank you. It's
just
really, it's one of those things that, when I say I didn't really know where this was going to go and just kind of let things unfold somewhat. I like clothes, and I like to design things. I feel like I'm somewhat creative, so it's kind of a creative outlet as well, being able to come up with products too. And it's just, I'm just really thankful and amazed at how all these fun things that I really enjoy kind of come together to support this thing that I'm really passionate about.
Yes, yes. It is your it's like your young baby right there
It
that
is.
you are just
Yeah.
growing. And it also is a wealth of information. You have some great resources on there with your videos and tips and lifestyle stuff, study tips. So tell our viewers if they want to connect with you or find out, resources, or what's the best way.
Well, like I said, my favorite is Instagram. So follow me on there at flyGIRL Kelley, and you can always send me a message through there. You can also send me a message through my website, flyGIRLLLC.com. There is a place to connect or contact, I think it's called. You can send me a message there. Any of like Twitter or flyGIRL Kelley's Facebook page as well. I'll respond to messages, and there are people that reach out all the time that want to know, do I know about any other scholarship opportunities? And I work with a lot of people that help me put together packets of information to send out and try to be a resource for others if they can't get the flyGIRL scholarship, or I'm not offering one at the time that they need. There are other places they can go and get that. And I also try really hard to connect other people with each other. I think that aviation is special in that way. It's because it's a small community. I say I have my aviation family. We all seem to want to help one another, and I haven't really had, sometimes females can be very competitive and catty and come across as not being very supportive, and it's not that way in aviation. So I feel really like we all want to help each other, and I think it's a great group to connect with, and it demonstrates, I feel like, what you can do if you have the right support and how you can be supportive. And, we don't need to, I had a podcast guest yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday morning. We were interviewing someone, and one of the things she talked about was how women need to stand together and empower each other. We need it to be a united front. She said, we need to help each other. It's not a competition. Nobody's life is perfect. Nobody has everything. Nobody has a carefree life. Everybody has problems. It's not going to make you feel any better by making someone else feel bad. So what's the point? I don't get it. We don't need to do that with each other. We need to help each other and connect each other with other people. And that's what feels really good, and to me. And I want other people to feel like they have a team. They have people that believe in them, and they can do what they want to do, and we'll support them.
Yes, that is so very well put. And it, again, through the female pilots we've had, they all talk about the sense of community and support in it. And it is an ongoing theme that we hear on this side when everyone's sharing their stories. So that's really cool to identify that within every single person story that we've listened to.
That is cool. Yeah. Glad
Yeah.
to hear that.
Yeah. And to your point, just about, women empowering each other and helping one another and, just listening and not judging. I think that's a big thing. And that's kind of, Shauna and I, when we created the Red Bra Project, the whole idea was to highlight women and the, amazing things they're doing. And no story is too big or too little, or you don't have to be in the quote unquote professional world. You don't have to, create something that you own yourself. I mean, we all have amazing stories, and they're a wide spectrum and we can all learn from them.
Right.
So yeah,
Right.
It's just the
Right.
power of coming together. So
And we all have our own gifts, and the way that we can use them and to benefit other people and to feel good about ourselves and feel like we're fulfilling our own kind of dreams, at the same time. So yeah, I think that sometimes women, especially with social media, it can be challenging. You really compare yourself a lot.
yeah.
Just try to remind yourself that no matter how perfect that picture looks, and believe me, I only like to post pictures of me when I think I look good. I don't like anything where I don't feel like I don't look good. So I know that I can be very like that. But I know behind my pictures that it takes me 20, 25 selfies to find one I really like.
Oh yeah.
That I'm not perfect. And I know if I see another Instagram picture and the woman looks amazing, I'm not going to be jealous. I'm going to be like, she's not perfect. I know she's not. And she probably took 25 selfies to get that one that she likes as well.
It's so true. It's so true. So I am so curious because the way we found you, actually, I came across an article. I think it was Aviation magazine, where you were talking about your Uncle Robert, but you talked about how he taught himself aerobatics. Yes. And you in the plane, you flew with him sometimes when he would do them, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he'd already taught himself at that point when I started flying.
Yeah. Well, thankfully. Yes. You weren't a student in learning with him.
No, I wasn't the guinea pig. I was, he'd already learned it. But yeah, he is, he just got out of aviation actually last year. He's 82, I think, and he'd flown for over 50 years and kind of got to, I think when you get to a certain age, you have to start realizing that, your reflexes are not as quick as they used to be, and you can be in a dangerous situation in an airplane. So you have to recognize when it's time to kind of stop for safety reasons. And he retired from flying, but he's still a great mentor. And yeah, he was self-taught. I mean, my mother, this is my mother's brother, and they grew up really poor. And the only reason he flew, well, he was in the Army, and then he had got the GI Bill and was able to take flight lessons. And it wasn't, it just wasn't possible to pay a lot of money to have someone teach you. So like to this day, he doesn't even have TV. He reads everything. And that was his way of being able to do what he wanted to do. I'm going to read about it and then go do it. As long as you have enough altitude, I guess, you're good. Just climb as high as you possibly can.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so cool. That is so awesome. Well, it has been incredible to have you as our guest. And I feel like it's going to be tough this next question to share just one moment, but the red bra is something that whether we wear it boldly on the outside or quietly on the inside, it's something that we personally can know and feel to push us through those challenging times, those times of adversity, those times when we may want to just pull the covers over our head, but we keep going and doing it. Do you have a red bra moment that comes to mind when we describe it?
Gosh, well, my whole flight training and the whole flyGIRL thing.
I was thinking.
Yeah. I think with the flyGIRL thing, one of the, the flight training was something that I did and wasn't, people weren't watching it all the time. I think putting myself out there as flyGIRL Kelley and starting to post selfies and starting to post all this stuff about like, hey, look at me, was very kind of scary because I knew it would be criticized and it could be taken the wrong way. And you know, I'm not 20 something, I'm 40 something. So what are other 40-year-old moms going to think about what is she doing? You know, and now all of a sudden putting myself out there to the public is pretty, it still is pretty hard. You know, you get some criticism from lots of people, family sometimes, really close friends sometimes. And you gotta I just have to keep reminding myself that they don't really know exactly how I feel, or there's something in me that's telling me I have to do this, and I don't need to explain it to them. It's, you know, if they don't get it, that's okay. I don't have to convince the world that they need to like what I'm doing or that they think I'm doing it the right way, because not everyone is going to like that. And I have a really good friend that said, Natalie, not everybody is going to like you. And I hate that. It's like, I want to be liked, but I'm not, you know, because people are different, and you just have to accept that and just stay true to, you know, when you say stay true to yourself, I mean, I hate to say that kind of cliche, but it's true. You got to keep reminding yourself, I don't have to justify myself to these people. They don't know what, you know, that this is something I feel called to do, and I just can't not do it.
Oh, that is such great advice. Thank you so much. And I know that all of the women and some men who listen to our show that hear that out there, this is meant for you guys today. So keep doing what you're doing. That's in your heart and on your soul. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you. You're welcome. I'm just really thrilled to be able to do that. As you can tell, I like talking about it. So.
Well, that is good because you're really great at it. And I know that we're going to have so many people that are going to want to connect with you. So again, you said Instagram is kind of the way to go, at flyGIRL.
At flyGIRL Kelley.
flyGIRL Kelley.
And it's EY. You know, a lot of people say it's Y, but it's actually Kelley. And my first name is not Kelly. A lot of people think that it is, but it's not. My first name is Natalie. So that's okay if you forget, but it is at flyGIRL Kelley with an EY.
Perfect. Good, good. Okay. And we'll make sure to link up everything. And you guys know that come on over and follow us at the Red Bra Project. We'll have all of Natalie's information down there, and just the website. You're going to have a blog post coming out too. That way we're going to be able to link up all of your stuff. So we close out every show with a quote, and the one that we picked out for you today.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So here we go.
Okay.
Once you have tasted flight, you will forever walk the earth with your eyes turned skyward. For there you have been, and there you will always long to return. Leonardo da Vinci.
Yeah. So true. That's one of my favorites. I love that. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for all that you're doing too. I think it's really awesome. Anytime women can help lift each other up and encourage each other. We got enough criticism in the world that we don't need more, you know? So I appreciate you too.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And thanks to everybody who joined in and listened to Natalie's story. Please share with somebody who may need her story in their life. And make sure to hit subscribe on our little bell wherever it is. You can catch all of our awesome guest highlights. And if you'd like to nominate a guest for the Red Bra Project, reach out to us over on Instagram or the Red Bra Project at gmail.com. We love our nominations. So thank you so much. Have a great night.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Bye, Natalie. Thank you.
Bye.